Chapter 28 Willpower. The great work is, first of all, the creation of the true human being by dint of our will, based on conscious labors and voluntary sufferings. The great work is the inner conquest of oneself, of our true liberty in God. Therefore, if in reality we want the perfect emancipation of our willpower, we need, with a maximum and unavoidable urgency, to disintegrate all those that live in our interior. Nicholas Flamel and Raymond Lully were both meager men, yet they liberated their will and accomplished innumerable psychological prodigies that caused astonishment. Agrippa never progressed past the first part of the great work. He lamentably died while struggling in the disintegration of his with the objective of possessing himself and establishing his independence. The perfect emancipation of willpower assures the sage absolute dominion over fire, air, water and earth. The assertion of our former paragraphs, in relation with the sovereign might of the emancipated willpower, may seem exaggerated to many students of contemporary psychology. Nonetheless, the Bible narrates wonders about Moses. According to Philo, Moses was an initiate in the lands of the pharaohs on the banks of the river Nile. He was a priest of Osiris, and he was the pharaoh's cousin, educated among the columns of Isis, the divine mother, and of Osiris, our father who is in secret. Moses was a descendant of the patriarch Abraham, the great Chaldean Magus, and of the very respectable Isaac. Moses, the man who liberated the electric might of the willpower, possesses the gift of prodigies. This is known by the divine ones and humans. So it is written. All that the sacred scriptures state about this Hebrew leader is certainly extraordinary, portentous. Moses transformed his staff into a serpent. He transformed one of his hands into that of a leper and then restored it to health again. His power was clearly demonstrated in the burning bush. Thus, people comprehended, knelt and prostrated themselves. Moses handled a magical wand, emblem of royal power, of the priestly power of the initiate in the great mysteries of life and death. In front of the Pharaoh, Moses changed the water of the Nile into blood. The fish died, the sacred river became infected, the Egyptians could not drink from it, and the irrigation canals of the Egyptians poured out blood onto the field. Moses did more. He succeeded in causing millions of disproportionate, gigantic and monstrous frogs to appear out of the river and swarm through the houses. Then, upon the signal, an indication of a free and sovereign willpower, those horrible frogs disappeared. However, since the Pharaoh did not set the Israelites free, Moses worked new miracles. He covered the earth with filth, stirred up clouds of repugnant and filthy flies, which he later gave himself the luxury of driving away. He unchained the frightening plague and all the flocks died, except those of the Jews. He took ashes from the furnace, states the sacred scriptures, threw them into the air and they fell on the Egyptians, causing them pustules and boils. Putting forth his famous magical wand, Moses caused a hailstorm from heaven which mercilessly destroyed and killed. Next, he caused the fiery lightning bolt to strike. The terrifying thunder roared and it rained horribly. Then, with a signal, everything returned to calm. However, the Pharaoh continued to be inflexible. Moses, with a tremendous strike of his magical wand, as if by magic, caused clouds of locusts to appear. Then darkness came. Another strike of the wand and all returned to its original order. The end of that biblical drama of the Old Testament is very well known. Jehovah intervened, causing the firstborn of the Egyptians to die, and the Pharaoh had no other choice but to let the Hebrews leave. Next, Moses made use of his magical wand to separate the waters of the Red Sea and to cross it with dry feet. When the Egyptian soldiers threw themselves in pursuit of the Israelites, Moses, with a signal, caused the waters to close again, swallowing the followers. Unquestionably, on reading this, many pseudo-occultists wish they could do the same, and have the same powers of Moses. However, this is more than impossible as long as the willpower continues to be bottled up in each and every one of those which we carry within the different depths of our psyche. The essence, engrossed in the myself, is the genie Aladdin's lamp, wishing for liberty. Once the genie is free, each can accomplish miracles. The essence is conscience willpower, unfortunately processing itself in virtue of our own conditioning. When our willpower is liberated, then it blends or fuses itself with the universal willpower. Thus, as an outcome of this, When integrated like this, our willpower becomes sovereign. The individual willpower fused with the universal willpower can accomplish all the miracles of Moses. There are three types of actions. 1. Those which correspond to the law of accidents. 2. Those which belong to the law of recurrence, actions always repeated in each existence. 3. Actions which are intentionally determined by the conscious willpower. Unquestionably, only persons who have liberated their willpower through the death of the myself shall be able to accomplish new acts born from their free willpower. The common and current acts of mankind are always either the result of the law of recurrence or the mere product of mechanical accidents. Whosoever truly possesses free willpower can originate new circumstances. Whosoever has his willpower bottled up in the pluralized I is a victim of circumstances. In all the biblical pages, there is a marvelous display of high magic, seership, prophecy, miracles, transfigurations, and the resurrection of the dead by insufflations or laying of hands, or by a fixed look upon the root of the nose, etc. Abounding in the Bible is massage, holy oil, magnetic passes, the application of a little saliva on the sick part of the body, reading another person's thoughts, transportations, apparitions, words coming from heaven, etc. True marvels of the liberated, emancipated and sovereign conscious willpower. Witches? Sorcerers? Black magicians? They are found everywhere like wild weed. They are, however, not saints nor prophets, nor adepts of the white fraternity. No one can arrive at real illumination nor exercise the absolute priesthood of the conscious willpower, if he has not first died radically in himself here and now. Many people write us frequently complaining of not possessing illumination, asking for powers, demanding clues that shall convert them into magicians, etc. But they never become interested in observing and knowing themselves, or in disintegrating those psychic aggregates, those is within which the willpower, the essence, is absorbed. Persons like that are obviously condemned to failure. They are people who covet the faculties of the saints but who have in no way decided to die in themselves. The elimination of errors is something magical, marvelous by itself, which implies rigorous psychological self-observation. The exercise of powers is possible when the marvelous power of the will is radically liberated. Unfortunately, since the willpower of people is absorbed in each I, obviously their willpower is divided into multiple wills that process themselves in virtue of their own conditioning. It is clear to comprehend that each I possesses its own particular, unconscious will. The innumerable wills engrossed in these frequently clash with each other, making them impotent, weak, miserable, victims of circumstances, incapable, due to that reason,